everyone. Welcome back to the Girl Talk Podcast, a show about pretty much nothing, like Seinfeld. Today we're going to have some good old-fashioned topics for us, and it's going to be a blast. Okay, my name's Dave, and on my left I have...
I'm Clay. I am debuting for the first time on the podcast. It's fantastic to be here.
You made a terrible mistake.
And I'm special guest, Jerry Seinfeld.
No, you're not. What's your real name?
My name is George Alexander.
Okay, and that's Joey over there, and he's...
How you doing?
Being a douche. All right, so let's kick this party off by discussing something that we all sometimes seem to think. It's a question that Clay, well, not question. It's a topic that Clay said that he would have a good hand in. I think this would be a good one to start off with.
Yeah, Clay did a very good job handpicking our topics today. So
yes,
we're gonna have a good time
from the pre-selected list that we have set up.
Yeah.
It's so the first question that we're gonna topic. It's a topic. Well, I can't speak tonight. The first topic that we're going to talk about is time spent preparing versus time spent participating. Clay, you said you had something to go into this.
Yeah, I'm starting to take a deeper plunge into being a horrible nerd and started playing Dungeons and Dragons.
But you're loving it.
I absolutely love it.
we all knew you had it in you.
Yeah, eventually you would.
We knew that it was lurking within.
And I recently was thrust in the position of being the game manager for our group of friends down in Columbus. So our group of friends, Brian, Jake, Lucas, and Danny, we were set to start this campaign, and I had designed the first island that they were going to adventure to, had a character who I had put some thought into. It was based actually off of McCree from Overwatch. It was a frontier town with the sheriff, his name was South Cruelfist.
South Cruelfist?
South, S-A-U-T-H.
South Cruel. Wait, what?
Dude, that's actually
South
a great name.
Cruelfist.
I'm actually impressed. That's a cool name.
Yeah, it was. I was so excited. So they walk into this town and they look at the sheriff of this town, who greets them warmly. And for no reason whatsoever, Danny decides that he just wants to kill him. So the fight goes on and it ends up with Brian's pet gorilla beating the sheriff to death in the corner of a cell. And Danny has such a good ability to lie to people that he took the clothes of the sheriff and convinced everybody through bluff checks that he was in fact the sheriff.
Dude, that sounds like the story of the Bear Knight, or Sir Bear.
Sir Barrington.
Because he was this bear, just a bear character, and he managed to convince an entire town that he was not a bear.
He had such high charisma that he went the whole game without telling anybody he was a bear.
Yeah, but the best part was he hired a butler who specifically translated stuff for him in bear so that he could speak to other people.
Well, wait,
and then one character figured out that he wasn't a bear, and the funny thing is he rolled poorly, and then at the he was getting inaugurated into being a knight, and then the guy's that's a bear, and he rolled so low, and they don't believe he's a bear, and they take you away to be killed for accusing him of being a bear.
I heard about that. I think it was that, and then he also rolled so poorly that he's it must have been a mistake.
He escaped a couple times, and I don't know. So I had put all this work into it, and there were 3 lines of dialogue, and the name was so cool that I couldn't pass it up, so I actually passed it along to the next evil non-player character that they used. Because, you can't just pass that name up.
Recycling is it?
Oh, yeah. It's not recycling if they never asked him his name. They just killed him. They never knew him. He was just the sheriff that they killed and robbed.
So wait, his name was South
Cruelfist.
South Cruelfist.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our experience with D&D, just on the topic of just these sort of role-playing games. Back in high school, me, Joey, and 2 friends of ours named Brady and Brett, we had this game called the Scenario Game, which essentially was just Pathfinder, but with no die.
We stripped it down.
It was the most bare bones D&D kind of game that you could play.
Everything was in the hands of the
Game Master.
Game Master.
But recently I've actually like brought the concept of the scenario game back to some people I know at YSU.
It's fun.
And we just added a single die to it. So it's like 0 to 20, 1 to 20. That's your range of things. Like you can still do anything, but that helps like decide what's going to happen. And I kind of want to go into like maybe someday we'll go into like a huge detail because there's a lot to discuss with the scenario game.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like 4 seasons of that.
If we're ever willing to get, if we're ever willing to get the polarizing personalities that are Brett and Brady, and maybe even Jay,
and sit down
and do a cast with them, then we can definitely go into it.
But the thing was that I brought it back, and this one kid made a play. Like they started off in a haunted mansion, and this is sort of falling into like what was going on. They were in a haunted mansion. I was just gonna expect it to be like a Scooby Doo or like a wacky haunted house adventure. And the very first move someone like they explore, but then the very like first real move that isn't exploring that someone made was like I break off pieces of like the staircase's railing, like the wood, to like go stab someone else. And he's like to make a cross to like ward off the ghosts. And he rolled a 20. And I'm like, you make a cross so good that's actually the cross Jesus died on, and Jesus is still nailed to it. So he's wielding Jesus on the cross as a weapon.
I mean, this is the one thing that really drew me in with role-playing games, because we took Pathfinder and we stripped down a lot of the specifics and we made it at more the game manager's discretion. So like when I manage a game, I don't want to deal with food or sleeping or all that stuff. So it's just like, you guys magically find everything you need. And it's a lot more fun. But this turns into, for me, I'm spending the entirety of winter break preparing campaigns so that I can go sit over Brian's house for 3 hours twice a week and drink beer and talk with them. Dude, that's what it devolves into.
Dude, the best thing is like people who rag on D&D are like the people who have never played it. Like, or have never like experienced it.
I initially, when I heard that Brian was going to be doing Dungeons and Dragons, I laughed at him. I'm like, "Oh, you're just becoming a real nerd now." And he's like, "Yeah, just come try it." And I tried it once. I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, I love this."
Yeah,
it's so you just do whatever you want, and it could be anything.
And there's some great stories that come out of it, like just crazy adventures that you couldn't just think of. It had to be like collaborate between this group of people that just make something crazy.
It's magnificent. And then at the end of that the first day of the campaign that we ran, Brian's one roommate Jake, he ended by killing a crooked king by tomahawking 2 throwing axes, and he rolled so well on his accuracy throw that he hit him on each of his eyes.
So blinded him.
Oh, he killed him. It was that was it.
Like the throwing knife throw at the end of Modern Warfare 2.
Yes. Yes.
What?
It was. There's so much.
At the end of hold on, I gotta tell Dave this real quick. At the end of Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty, you were placed in a situation where you are seeing your comrade being viciously beaten, and you're in a dust storm in the middle of the desert, and like you can't see anything around you, and there's a knife sticking out of your stomach, and you just pull the knife out and you throw it and nail the guy right in the eye, and that's the end of the game.
And another even concept of this, so much preparation and then for very little turnaround time. In our first campaign we ran that was managed by Lucas and I was an active member in, we were stuck in a town that was overrun by werewolves, and we had to escort people out of the town. And the way we did that is I was playing a half-orc barbarian, and the way we ended up getting out of it was I asked Lucas what the building was made out of, and he's just like, I guess it's a wood building, and it's a crappy town. And I turned to him and I'm like, I want to use my axes to break a hole in the wall and we're run out the back of the building. So we actually ran right into the forest and ran away and didn't have to fight anybody. And he had this whole set of encounters set up, and it was supposed to be this big battle, and we're just like, yeah, we're gonna go that way.
You're just gonna leave the town. How about
that? And I asked him, I was like, what's it been? I was like, wood. Oh, shit. And he knew exactly what I wanted to do.
I mean, the thing is with this whole concept of preparing, of like time spent preparing versus time spent participating, it's sort of like, I mean, not to get like too meta, but like for this podcast, because you see, I mostly like. I think Cody and Brian, maybe somebody, like, put maybe like a page or so of ideas down, and then later that day I just started typing away just whatever came to my head. Now we have like 5 pages.
Now we have a bunch of ideas.
And the funny thing is, like, this was made back in like the summer, or like earlier in the summer, like maybe on the cusp of spring ending, and only now, later in 2016, after so much shit has happened, are we actually getting to it. So like all this time that like we were all spent preparing, like, oh, we're gonna have this big podcast and like we're all gonna be doing stuff, and then we constantly turn into a bowl of Frosted Flakes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still think that's funny. That like we're
you're so
Frosted
proud of yourself.
I'm proud of myself because I have nothing else going in my life.
So let me just say this. Let me just say this much. As far as these kind of games go, and I've played one like legitimate game of D&D before, and it was kind of like a one-off. I played at a convention one time. Devin, Brian, me, and then a handful of other people that we met there. I tend to veer towards chaotic neutral in a sense that I don't plan my moves out in any way, shape, or form. So any preparation that goes in that the DM puts into the game tends to kind of go by the wayside on my moves. Like for example, I was the last one to move during our first term in the D&D session that we did. It was a while ago, but like we were placed in the middle of the woods, and we were all together as a group, and we knew that there was a town in one direction, and then deeper in the woods we could hear a wolf, and then that was it. That was all we knew. Okay. So like the game started out, some people were like, we go to the town, and some people were like, I'm gonna go look for that wolf. I think somebody was like, I'm gonna go look for that wolf and save it, and then the next person was like, I'm gonna go towards that wolf and kill it. And I'm like, okay, so we got lawful good and we got chaotic evil. And then I was like, or maybe lawful good, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Alignment charts, we could talk about alignment charts, but that doesn't matter right now. But my move was I was like, all right, so somebody went north, somebody went south. I'm gonna go through the ground. And I just started digging into the crust of the earth.
This.
I just started digging into the crust of the earth. And eventually it just turned into like I became a part of a mole person society. And then eventually everybody convened at the town and set it on fire. And I was like, I'll help. And then I dug underneath the town and I collapsed the town and I put the fire out. And that was my first experience. Like, there was a whole town there, and the DM put a lot of work into it.
That's gone.
It's gone. So that's what you're in for.
In all honesty, I am putting heavy consideration onto recording all of our Dungeons and Dragons sessions.
Dude, we could possibly, like, do you want possibly, like, I could teach you how to, like, record stuff like we're doing right now.
Oh, I fully plan on it.
You could totally make, like, a side season of just, like, D&D stories of the Grill Talk.
You could start doing it with what we're going to do this over break, because I'm going to...
Dude,
there is actually a podcast that is just people playing D&D. It's voice actors that do it. It's called Critical Role.
There's one there, and then the McElroy family of podcasts does the Adventure Zone.
Do you know about Critical Role, though?
I have heard of it.
Okay, it's very good. That's, I think Matt Mercer is in it, Dave.
Okay.
Travis, what's his name? He played Roy Mustang.
Travis Willingham.
He's in that. And then Monica Rial's in it.
Okay, so pretty much what you're saying is most of the Full Metal Alchemist cast is in it.
Very much, that's kind of where Full Metal Alchemist went, is into D&D after Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood ended. So
it's a surprising turn of events.
The thing was,
thankfully Vic Mignogna's not there.
What I'm going to say is that what I have hoped for this podcast in terms of extra side content or bonus stuff is I honestly think that with a little bit more planning in the future and just like a little bit better collaboration, especially with free time, we'll be able to actually like make more content outside of us just talking. So we could definitely do like a D&D bonus series of stuff on top of just like the normal Grill Talk podcast where we just bullshit around. Like we could probably do like one-on-ones where it's just like two people go back and forth and just answer different topics. Like I have some stuff
that would
planned
be more like an interview.
Well,
it's like one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one. That'd be kind of like an interview format.
Yeah.
I guess an interview format would be one person asks questions, the other one answers.
Yeah, this would be more of a conversation.
Yeah, this is more conversation.
We don't have conversation.
That'd be like...
No, we don't. This is what he's planning on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be a one-on-one conversation about a topic, maybe like a half-hour, like, little bit bonus video, or like you and me, like one time we had that discussion in like we had like that one idea back in the summer of like Joe and Dave one-on-one late at night or something.
Oh yeah,
or like Joe and Dave and Joe
the way we talk, just because the way we banter back and forth when we get like tired and we stop giving shit.
1 hour just straight.
It's just us going back and forth and just like I fucking hate it.
All right, what is this? So, anyways, what we were going to talk about is so we already discussed the like things that we like time spent preparing versus time spent participating. Like that was our first topic, and we're definitely gonna bring that up with other people because other people have plenty of stories about stuff like that.
It really devolved into a role-playing game talk.
Hey, dude, that's the point of having a podcast. Is it just devolves into shit, and that's the best part about it.
Did you hear our last episode? The first 5 minutes was us talking about tits versus ass.
That was now that I look back on it, it was really cringy.
It was really cringy 6 minutes. The rest of the episode was alright. I mean, it was kind of.
Yeah, I actually stopped at 5 minutes because I was waiting to start a final, and I was listening to it while I'm waiting to start my Greek culture final.
And you're just sitting there shuddering like, oh god, they put this on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful with the content you put out there.
But at the same time, like, we're only gonna grow better at this, and I'm fine with how that one went. It's cringy as hell. I can just say like, or put like an annotation at the beginning, like skip to like 6 minutes. The first 5 minutes are pointless.
Or maybe you could maybe also take it down and edit.
I could just cut that whole thing out. Yeah, but then the episode title doesn't make sense. It's called The Dreaded Questions.
Well, then just change the name.
I could just change the name. To Dreads.
Well, now
never talk about it.
Well, now they're gonna wonder what we're talking about in this episode.
Yeah, So
see, but now we have a mystery.
Ooh.
Well, actually, they do know what we talked about.
Because we just said that.
Because we just said that we talked about tips versus ass.
Yeah, but it was cringy, and I don't want it on there. So
this has gotten a little too meta.
No, but that's the point. Like, this isn't supposed to be like a barrier between them. Like, I kind of want ever becomes.
Are we gonna talk? Wait, hold on. Are we gonna finish out the role-playing game topic by talking about what kind of characters we like playing?
I would rather revisit that after you guys have more experience with it.
Okay. All I know is that before I even like have started D&D, like the people I was talking to at the YSU, what they were doing, they were trying to start a D&D campaign up, and they did. It's just that I didn't have time when they were doing it. Like I was working and whatnot. But they gave me a character sheet, and I did create a character who was chaotic good, and his name was Dave the Barbarian.
Actually, this is ironic. Our friend Lucas had before I was able to join the campaign because of scheduling issues, he had a barbarian character whose name was Dave.
Yeah,
wow,
Dave the Barbarian.
And Brian was laughing, and we continued, and on my first day there, they were just like, oh yeah, and this is Dave. And I'm like, Dave is here. Hello, Dave.
Dave, your character would be like it would have to have something to do with meat.
It's gonna be like this.
It would be.
It's gonna be Dave the Barbarian, but it's gonna be like this 5'2", like 120-pound, like skinny dude who has like a gigantic axe. He's got the deepest voice ever. He's gonna be like, meat, and just like that whole thing. He's only gonna speak in like meat in all capital letter words.
He's gonna speak in caps lock.
Your character has some kind of legacy that precedes him, like some kind of reputation that precedes him. Every town that he goes to, everybody's like, "Oh my God, Dave, the Meat Mountain Barbarian's coming!" Oh God, everybody hide!
Strolling through the town.
Everybody hide! Dave, the Meat Mountain Barbarian's coming.
And his axe is like bigger than him, and he's just like meat, and he's just like this like scrawny
dwarf.
And he just
maybe a dwarf or
you know what? And then he goes to like the local tavern. You go to the local tavern, you just sit down, and like you like nearly break the chair. You break the floor beneath the chair, and then you're just like, all you say is meat.
Just like.
And then the tavern owner, who's like a big hairy like lumberjack type guy, is just like, I better get some meat.
It's like I should go get some meat. And like the waitress or like the lady who's pushing around drinks is just like, so how you doing in our town? He just choke slams her.
The barmaid.
The bar wench.
Just want to see it just like she comes out and like, how you doing? You want a nice drink? It just slams it through the No. Just meat. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Alright, so
what's our next topic?
Next topic that isn't role playing or that. Tropical storm names.
I hate the way that we name storms.
I hate the way that we name a lot of things.
I have a younger brother whose name was Isaac, and it's like, Isaac wrecks coastal towns. I'm like,
so he's
Good
like,
job,
so is he
Bravo.
like, is he just like, you know, like strolling through the house like, I just fucking wrecked Florida.
I don't know. I just
cause of death.
I think of whenever I hear
I'm the leading cause of death.
whenever I hear them like
Oh, so
come
you're
up with
cancer.
this tropical storm name, I always think of like a Godzilla-sized person just smashing stuff and
just kicking
flooding homes and wrecking it, and then like. Yeah, you ruined the name Katrina for a good while. Like
True.
That's
Katrina was like a. It was like a pretty big.
event.
Pretty
that
big
happened.
deal.
And then like the best, like I have a little cousin named Matthew. So,
Oh,
no.
so I'm just like thinking of his fucking face in the like. Because did you see that?
Yeah, I
He
saw
said-
that.
Yeah, if anyone remembers that, wait, back earlier this year, there was Hurricane Matthew, which was this huge fucking storm.
Dating the episode.
Okay,
I'm
it happened
kidding.
earlier this year. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, it happened in
It
2000.
happened in the past.
Yeah,
No, but yeah, what Dave was saying.
there was a big there was this satellite that scanned it, and it found in like the intense areas there was a fucking skull in there.
That was metal.
That-
That
I
was
was
so
like-
metal.
It was like
That's
it was
awesome.
like
That was awesome.
it was like giving like that creeper like look outside like to the left like I see you.
It was a profile of a skull.
Like I'm gonna fuck this place up.
I love that picture. I love it.
I love it, but it was also like terrifying at the same
It
time.
almost makes me like for a little bit. It inspired me because even though I don't have the talent to do it, I wanted somebody to make like a folk song about a hurricane named Matthew that has a skull and like it's a ghost story somehow. I don't know.
That could possibly be something like later. You never know. But it could be a creepypasta later on.
No, I mean I
For all the-
want to be
for all the middle schoolers to get
I
scared
wanted it
at.
to be a folk song. I wanted it to be a folk song. Was my
You seem to have like go ahead.
well no I mean it just my train of thought was going that
No,
direction.
but that reminds me of like because oh god, we're gonna get off topic again, but that reminds me of like how much you said you were terrified when you were younger of the Hey Arnold Ghost Train episode, and there was the dude in the end.
It's scary.
It is scary, right? But like the dude who's singing at the end, like I'm just imagining his voice just like singing the song about Matthew with that fucking harmonica. Not harmonica, that accordion. I'm making an accordion motion. You're talking about a harmonica.
I actually carry around a harmonica with me.
Do you
It's what-
play it? You go like.
Yeah, I do.
I started to learn how to play a harmonica, and I start to learn how to do a lot of things. Like, I start to learn how to draw, and then I start to learn how to play the guitar, and I start to learn how to play the harmonica.
I know I play the guitar.
And I don't carry out with any of it, but I don't want it enough to put in the work. It's...
Hey, dude.
I just don't care.
Dude, you're better than a lot of people who, like, pick something up and, like, I'm gonna stick with this, it's gonna be big, I'm gonna be really good at this, and then they just don't. Whereas you're just like, okay, that's too much work, I'm not gonna do it. And it's like, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna play a few notes, I'm gonna shred a little bit, sweet picking, and then...
I actually really had a hard time understanding the guitar for a very long time because I used to play it and I would hold the strings down on the frets, but not down enough to actually like hit the note, and it would just not play a sound. I was like, what is going on? What am I doing
muting
wrong?
it.
What am I doing wrong?
You're borrowing it, yeah.
And then when I finally learned, I learned on like this tiny toy guitar that had an amp built in it, but when you turn it on, it just kind of crackles.
Oh, the old first act guitar.
Yeah, and I started playing on that, and I finally like hit a note different from like when you have the string without touching it. You know, like just the note. I played what do they call it? It's just a note, right?
Yes, an open note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally played that. I was like,
I'm music.
I did it. I did it. And then here was Dave just like playing his bass. I'm just like, all right, thanks.
Okay.
There goes Dave.
And to this day, I'm still trying to teach you how to play the drums.
Drums are hard.
Drums are not hard,
Drums
dude.
are really hard.
My issue is coordinating the foot pedal with the drum hitting. I can't do that. Like, even rock band drums. I turn to whoever's sitting there and isn't doing anything. I'm like, hey, do you want to come hit the foot pedal with your hands? Like, because I can do the rest of it fine. It's just coordinating the stomps with it. I just can't do it.
It's two limbs up here and one limb down here, and they're all moving at different intervals, and that's what's hard.
Two limbs sometimes. I do two limbs, but the thing is, like, because I saw.
count as a limb.
Hey.
Hey.
You just acknowledge that was. But the thing with drumming is, and the funny thing is, people who can't see because you can't because it's an audio recording, not visual. But we are currently sitting next to my brother's old drum kit.
Do you want to? Okay.
No, I know that will blow the mic out.
You're right.
That would blow it out that window.
You're right. It would blow it out.
But the thing is, I took 6 months of drum lessons and then stopped. And then a few years later, after playing Rock Band on like medium drums, because like I can't hit the drums, but after like once you hit like a certain, it's like a ceiling that you have to break. At least in terms of music, I think like there's just a certain ceiling that everyone has, and once it breaks, all of a sudden it sort of just like starts coming to you a bit.
It makes sense.
Like I just one day, I don't even remember how, I just broke the ceiling, and the thing is like once you just kind of get it, it just sort of like builds on itself. Like once I figure out how to like coordinate the hands, all of a sudden I could just do it naturally.
Is it the same way with Melee too? Please tell me it's the same way with Melee.
It is the same Melee. Like with Pro Melee, we're not going to talk about this for much, but we're just going to keep it at this. Like with tech skill and just Super Smash Brothers, it's a ceiling. So like once you hit at that ceiling, and you just push a little bit further, all of a sudden it all can just sort of work together, and then we're done.
Well,
we're not talking about it.
There's so many things in life that are like that.
I have one more question though, Dave. While we're on it, and then I'll leave it alone. But like,
Okay.
I've been grinding out tech skill lately, and technical skill for people who are uninitiated. It's just
For
how
normal people.
for normal people. But no, I grind it out and I can do it just fine. And I'm getting better and better and faster. I can do my shines. I can do my shine grabs. I gotta watch the jargon. I can do these things that I couldn't do before, and then I start playing in a real match against like a computer, and then it just all leaves.
Then you need to practice something else. Okay. Like you need to practice a different aspect of the game. That's the only thing I can say. If your tech skill is good, you practice a different aspect of your play style. Like practice something else.
That's generalizable to a lot of things, though, because a lot of times you see people who can play instruments very well, but then they go to try to perform them and they choke. Mm-hmm. It's the same way with a lot of athletic events. You sit and work on shooting 3-pointers in an empty gym, but then you turn around and try and do it in front of people and you choke because you're not practicing under the conditions that you would need to. So if you're sitting and running practice against a standing AI, it's gonna be different when there's something moving around. So you got to practice for the level you want.
Yeah.
That's why you see football programs who will practice with crowd noise.
Really?
Especially let's see, when Ohio State had to travel to Oklahoma. They went over the loudspeakers of their practice field and they blasted crowd noise because you want to get used to functioning under this
wave.
Because it's disorienting to hear hundreds of thousands of people screaming at you. And this was a primetime game. This was huge.
Oh, it was a big deal.
At the time, Oklahoma was one of the top-ranked teams in the nation, mm-hmm. and this was going to decide how the rest of the season kind of shook out for everybody. So in order to prep for this, they would, for the whole week leading up to it, they just blasted crowd noise. So they had to be able to listen to or look for the hand signals from the coaches. They would just run whole segments of their practice under deafening crowd noise that was actually probably louder than what they had to perform at. So then they got used to performing over the top, and they would run these quick drills where you had to get play off, and there was no time to stop and talk. You had to look for hand signals, and you had to be prepared. And a lot of that forces you to be ready for anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually super interesting because
that is interesting.
That's sort of just like that, because I know a lot of people, because I have an art page where I just mostly do shitty art that people pay me for, and like not my real art. You guys know about it.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, and it's stupid, but they pay me to do it, and it's a living, and I'll do it if I can.
Money's money.
It doesn't bother me at all, and it's whatever. But the people, even then, in that community of people who talk about that stuff and like draw that stuff, they constantly ask me like, Dave, how do you get better at drawing stuff? And I'm just like, draw.
You just draw more stuff.
The people who tell me like, or ask me like tips like, Dave, how do you get better at drawing? Or like kids ask me, because my little cousins, they like to draw too. They're like, how can I get to your level of drawing? And like, how can I get better at this? Draw.
And then you look at it, and what looks bad, fix it.
Fix it, and then when you fix that, something else is going to look bad. Fix that, and then you're going to find something else. It's a constant uphill battle. You should never, ever, ever, if you're doing something that you love and you want to get better at, you should never, ever, ever hit the point where you just say, all right, I know enough, and I'm going to stop learning. You never, ever stop at that point. You always keep going.
There are two concepts that I like to use that are linked to this. The first one was actually brought on by a Seinfeld episode. It's called Don't Break the Chain.
Bringing it all the way back around.
You start with, okay, I want to be a better artist, so I'm going to do one drawing a day. So what you do is you keep track of, okay, today I'm going to open up my sketchbook, I'm going to draw something. Whether that's a 3D looking cube, a stick figure, or a smiley face. You drew something today. So then you go, and every single day you do something. You never break the chain. Mm-hmm. And if you do break the chain, you don't beat yourself up about it. You start another one. And that's what you do. And a second thing is, I believe it was Malcolm Gladwell who had the 10,000 hours rule.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard about that.
You do anything for 10,000 hours and you're a master at it. So you kind of combine those two things because, what do? You sit there for 30 minutes a day and you sketch. Mm-hmm. Or you sit for 30 minutes a day and you do ball handling exercises for basketball. Or you sit for 30 minutes a day and you practice your Smash Brothers technical skill. And then suddenly...
And you play bass for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, you over time, you're just naturally going to get better at everything.
Or maybe not even better is the word. You're just going to get more comfortable at doing that thing to where it won't immediately lead to progress, but it'll lead to a foundation where progress can be made.
This is actually a kind of cool story on my part because what I did was I worked... I had to work on my dexterity with both hands. I very briefly in high school was a basketball player. When I started off, I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible. I couldn't dribble without looking at a basketball. So what I decided to do to get kind of better at it was I started doing things with my left hand. Eating, brushing my teeth, because then I got used to using my left hand. And it didn't essentially make me better at being a basketball player, but it got me more comfortable with the concept of, hey, I have another arm.
Yeah.
Because, what do? You open your locker, right hand. I grab my backpack, right hand. So there was a conscious, concerted effort for, I am going to sit and for 4 minutes a day I am going to use my left hand brushing my teeth twice. But over time, you start getting more comfortable with the space that it takes up. So you could just do little stuff like that. Or if you want to get better at drawing, you sit in your lecture and you draw on the margins of your notes when your professor's sitting there and you're not listening.
Yeah, for any of you out there who might have found this via my art channel and want to comment on how shitty I am at art, well, good. But
yeah, you suck.
The thing is like
I'm gonna comment in real life.
The thing is, I have the same story as pretty much every other artist normally would. Is that back in 6th grade when I first picked up a pencil to actually try and draw, my first drawings were actually all stickmen with they had their spiky hair was literally just like.
You still have some of them.
I still have a few.
You still have some.
I gained inspiration from them actually.
What was the name of the character that you made up? Because I remember you had a character that you made up, and so did Brady.
I made a character.
It was based off Dragon Ball Z, which that's something that a lot of kids our age very much like and base their things off.
Shit, what was it? Oh wait, that was something different that Bray and I did back in.
That may be it.
No.
But there was a drawing.
There was a shit ton of I just straight up ripped story elements from Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and just threw them in there.
See, but that's how you get better at being creative.
The thing is but the thing is never. You've told me that before back when we were lifting together a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Last summer.
Yeah, last summer. It's I'll never forget. Never compare your behind the scenes to someone's highlight reel. Always the thing is I look back at my old drawings where literally the people were the box, it was a box, a square for their bodies and a circle for their head and then three it's like a W with it's like a closed W for spiky hair and their arms were multiple circles. With these claw fingers, so it was straight lines. So that was their arms, and it's they're 4 circles, and then their feet were more circles, and no, their legs were more circles, and their feet were bees, the letter
bees?
No, the letter B was their feet, and so.
In this podcast, every time we say B, it slightly speeds up a little bit more.
The thing is people get way too, I talk to these people. I have a Discord chat. That I talk to, I have a lot of artist friends on there, and there's this one guy on there who's constantly my drawing's stuck, I can't get better. Like a bunch of like belly aching and moaning. It's just like, and this one guy and I who started up the Discord chat were better than the people in there. Well, except one. One of them's like really good, but like we're better than most of the people in the chat. Because some of them aren't even artists, and some are like lesser artists, and they look up to us for like inspiration. But even when we're flat out telling them like what to do, how to get better, because this kid draws with like colored pencils and all that, and it's like that's hindering you. Work on with like normal pencils so you can understand shading and like practice your anatomy. Don't have a heavy hand. Blah blah blah. And that's the one thing a lot of people can get better at is like if you want to get better at drawing, practice on how heavy your hand is, because like if you go lightly across it, then you can like do a lot of cool tricks with that instead of doing straight lines or like really thick lines, because that's later in the drawing. But I just got off on a huge tangent. I could do an entire episode by myself about drawing. But
you could talk about art for a long time.
If only there was another artist in like the group, then I could just have like.
Unfortunately, the rest of us aren't very artistic. The other two. Okay, well, I'll give you this much. I took a drawing class, so I know what you're talking about. I'm not good. I was not good. I drew some squares.
I drew some squares.
I don't know. For some reason,
Clay drew some things too. He did some good stuff.
I've always been very good at drawing landscapes and architecture stuff because it's all. I look at it and I can break it down into straight lines that I can grasp easily. And this was in our history of fine arts class. I would always do I would do the buildings almost like picturesque, but then we would go and do something with a person in it. And they just look terrible. I had never put enough work into it because the human anatomy is so dense. There's so much there in movement and proportions.
Yeah, that's a step up.
That is 10,000 steps.
The thing is, that's a lot of people, and what they say is like the challenging part is that that landscapes and like backgrounds are hard, and like buildings, and like that's like that's the hard part. And the human anatomy is like clockwork to me. I can just like sketch out a human body.
Because you put the work into it.
What the fuck is this? And it's just like
don't knock anything over.
And I can just like human body. There it is. And then like backgrounds. Oh god.
Draw 10 hands. Go. Okay. Done. Hands.
Yeah, you saw that one picture I drew. I drew 12 hands.
12 hands. Draw 12 different hands.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And that was a bitch.
Those are hard.
I don't know. Here's another thing that I'm used to doing.
I can draw eyes.
Because I work as a personal trainer at school, and I get people who obviously want to get into shape, and I don't like to brag. I'm one of the better fit personal trainers there, so I'm
both of us.
Yeah. I'm in shape.
You get a lot of attention if you know what I'm saying.
There's always a question of people who are like, oh, I want to get fit, and I don't know how, and I'm trying to help them, except I can't give them dietary advice because that's against Ohio law. Because I'm not a registered dietitian, but
yes.
Everybody's like, well, I'll tell them like, yeah, it's hard, but you got to work. You got to keep working. It's like, well, it's easy for you to say. I'm like, no, it's not. I did not come out the womb looking like this.
Yeah.
I didn't come out the womb drawing fucking Mozart. That's a quote.
I didn't come out the womb like, dude.
That's a Game Grumps quote, by
the
way.
Dude, if you compare my drawings now to like the drawings that literally 10 years ago, or no, not 10 years ago. Back in 6th grade, how old was that? Like 2007, 2008?
Oh my goodness, getting old.
2000. When was that?
When? What?
2000, like 6th grade. 2006. 2006. Yeah, 10 years ago. If you compare my drawings 10 years ago to my drawings now, you'd think it was a different person. But I mean,
you could post to that meme. People are doing that meme. Me in 2006. Me in 2016. You could post to that meme where you have a drawing from 2006 and a drawing from now.
Improvements can be made. Yeah.
I love the amount of improvements I've made.
I like the amount of improvements.
I'm happy with myself. Hey, Clay, do you want to talk about your take a brief moment to talk about your current athletic endeavors and careers for the people at home?
Do you want to talk about Jesus Christ?
I actually
Dad here, Jehovah's Witness.
I would rather not. I would like to take a look at that.
Later date.
Well, I want to take a look at it more of as a complete retrospective, and it's not very entertaining for the most part. So
we should have character bios of each of us from the Girl
We
Talk
could
podcast.
do that.
Just to get a sense of who we are. That'd be cool. But
we could do that.
That's another thing. Like nowadays, especially with like how PC things can get, and how apparently bad. No, not even apparently bad that is as like a culture for like what it is like. like how you said that, because that pisses me off when people are like, oh, easy for you to say, you have good genetics. Like, okay, I may be 6 foot. I may be like 6 foot and have like a build and have a strong, like easy to build on build, but that shouldn't stop you from working.
Yeah, Dave is a large
There
man.
is,
And you are 6 foot
Actually,
4.
Clay.
yeah,
Clay, for those who don't know, Clay right now is a pretty physically fit. But in high school, he was very how you say scrawny.
I was very I had graduated high school. I was 6'4" and 185 pounds, and I was to use the body descriptor. I was skinny fat, where I wasn't muscular, but I didn't have abs either. It was not a very good build, and I put in the work, and I put on 20 pounds every year since I graduated high school, to where I am now at a monstrous 245 pounds.
Which to be honest, I'm built as wide as a door, and I'm only 230 pounds. So
There's the big thing with everybody's genetics complaint. Yes, it does put you behind. You know, no matter how much you work, you're gonna be 5'10". You're gonna be 5'5", but you could still get as good as possible. You could still put in work. It might be a little harder. You might have to sacrifice a little bit more, but you shouldn't be bitter about it.
the thing I want to always say is, like, no matter what, I don't care what universe you're in, or like, I mean, movies and stories, blah, all that fictitious stuff, that's fine. But no matter what realm of reality that you make, if the person without like the good genes, or like the talent, or you know, the know-how to be doing something just inherently naturally, that will always lose to someone who works harder than them. If they are being talent loses to hard work when talent doesn't work.
Yes.
So like, you can have bad genetics. I've seen mentally disabled, like cerebral palsy bodybuilders. What's your excuse? That's like the thing. Like, if like, that's literally two things that are like the opposite of what you can be in terms of bodybuilding. This man has cerebral palsy and has Down syndrome, but he still is built. Like, he has a six pack and like a built chest and everything. He's like a big looking dude, and he's
because he wanted to do it.
Because he wanted it. Like, you should never let something as like your position in life, or like your outlook on life, or even like what you are, to stop you from becoming what you want. Like, so we're getting really motivational right now.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
I don't know. I'm a sucker for corny motivational stuff. But there are so many. It is awesome to watch the Special Olympics because there are so many people there who have been beaten down viciously by genetics, by life circumstances. Like watching double amputee veterans play wheelchair basketball is some of the most motivational stuff out there. And then even I know recently the Cleveland Cavaliers brought a big group of them in, and they played a game at halftime during a Cavs game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring because now you have a platform where you now have thousands of people watching these. And it's not even just veterans. Sometimes it's people who've been paralyzed from the waist down in car accidents, and they're out there playing basketball in front of a professional NBA crowd. And it's incredible to watch.
It's like seeing a high school band on the stage of like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And
yeah.
Look at these guys. This is awesome.
Or in 2012, our high school marching band I got to be a part of, we were down in New Orleans for a national championship game halftime show for at the time the BCS when it existed.
Wow.
It was
times have changed.
there were 5 high school bands, but little old me with my trombone as a sophomore in high school is standing on the field of the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans in front of a 100,000 person crowd. Nobody left for halftime. Every seat was still filled, and you're just standing there, and it was so surreal because I get nervous doing things in front of people. I have performance anxiety. It actually quite crippled me as a basketball player. But I would get so nervous standing in front of a crowd of 500 people at the most in our high school gymnasium. But then we turn around and we're in front of 100,000 people, and it's so surreal. They don't even look like real people, and you're just sitting there. And you just zone out. You're just like, wow.
I think for a lot of anxiety things, it hits like a cap. Like 500 people is like a comprehensible number that you can see, like in a room. You can imagine a room of 500 people.
Yeah.
You cannot comprehend 100,000 faces in a stadium. So, like, I think if you have anxiety in front of crowds, I think once it hits like a certain limit of like, I can't even comprehend that many people in like my field of vision.
It was so surreal. It was like
bleeds out.
There's another thing that's key to remember, called the spotlight effect, in which people who have anxiety and spotlight and anxiety specifically, it's a theory that people who have that believe that everybody in the world that's watching you is A, fully paying attention to you, and B, expecting you to mess up.
And neither of those are true.
And they
or
want
viciously judging you. That's another
viciously
thing.
judging you. When the truth is, people don't always completely fully pay attention with you, which is that can be taken some way, taken another way. But
unless you're
I like to the way I view it is, I don't really care anymore. I used to care, and now I don't care. So I'll just say anything I want. I mean, as long as I don't say anything cringy, but I'll like go into a room and I'll just say whatever I want, because I just don't care anymore.
And most people are so self-centered that they don't pay attention to what you're doing. Just think about you going about your day.
Yeah.
How much do you scrutinize what everybody else is doing? Unless somebody's doing something incredibly horrible, you could miss so much.
And the thing is, like, that should be a lot of things that, like, people, if you're, like, the people who are listening to this is, like, if you're, like, nervous, like, let's say you have, like, a presentation to do in front of your class, and there's, like, 20 people in your class, and you have really bad anxiety because they might all be looking at you. Imagine this for just 1 second. Everyone in that class is also not happy to go up there and present. So, like,
true.
They, like, unless they're a total sadist.
There is a good chance that out of those 20 people, there's at least 5 who are in the same situation as you, and they're concentrating more on themselves than they are listening to your project.
And
there's a chance that most of them are texting.
Yep.
And another thing is...
And there's another chance that the rest of them are paying attention to you.
And the thing is like, just remember this. No one in that room, unless they're a sadist or they like hate your guts or something, in that case, just ignore them. No one in that room is sitting there, twiddling their fingers and like looking out from under their brow, like heavy shadowing and twirling their mustache, like, I hope he fails in front of the class, man. Like, no one's thinking that. Everyone's thinking like, we're like, just present your stuff and we'll give you a clap. Don't worry about it. Like, we're not judging you that hard.
Oh, I mean...
And if they are judging you, fuck them. Like,
I do this with presentations all the time. I hate giving presentations.
Oh.
I will go up, I'll be like, I'll feel like I'm shaking, and I'll give my whole presentation, and I'll sit down and I'll wipe the sweat from my hands, and...
I used to be that.
There was one class where our professor recorded us giving the presentation,
oh.
and I sat and watched it afterwards. I'm like, I look fine. Like, this is what everybody else is seeing, and I look completely normal, and I'm sitting there stressed and thinking I'm visibly shaking, and I
feel like you have Tourette's.
But I look fine.
I used to do the same thing. I don't do it so much anymore, because now I just get up there and I'm like, all right, I have an idea of how I'm going to start it out, and then I know the rest of the content that I'm putting out. So I'll just phrase it however it comes to mind, and if it sounds weird, then whatever.
Just think of this: like, if you have a presentation or you have to perform in front of someone, and it's not like a big paid event or something, in which that case you should be practicing more for that event so you're not nervous. But in that case, if you mess something up in your presentation, at maximum you will be a blip on that person's radar for the day. You'll be a one blip and then you'll disappear on the radar.
Unless you really, really fucking...
Unless you pee on the front of the classroom and vomit all over.
Which that could happen.
Which then you probably would be a story and maybe would have to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah.
You might have another problem entirely.
Essentially, like, the main point that this is all boiling down to with all this motivational talk and whatnot, and I know a lot of people hate motivational talk. Like, a lot of people really, really hate the concept of, like,
people don't like it.
Someone, like, trying to, like, boost your morale up, and I don't get that. But, like,
I'm a sucker for it.
Dude, if someone gives me, like, a good old-fashioned motivational video with, like 2 steps from hell music and, like, motivational speeches over them and whatnot, like, you gotta try, and that sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try.
Somebody gives me a good old-fashioned motivational handy, I'm just
My favorite motivational video is actually not even a motivational video. This was shown to me by our friend AJ.
Is it Gattaca?
It is not.
Damn, I love Gattaca.
This was an interview done with Mike Tyson, and it was how does he deal with the pressure of boxing in front of all these people, and he said he worries about them while he's training. He wakes up in a cold sweat every night thinking about being beaten, and he has nightmare after nightmare. But he goes into the ring the day of the event, and he stares his opponent down. He does not break eye contact with them, and as soon as they look away, he knows he's already won. He said it's over from there. He says, I have won, I'm the champion, and the match hasn't even started. And I'm just sitting there, and you're thinking, it's just like so much of life is in your head. You have to go after it.
Dude, oh wow, that's actually really cool that he said
that.
I've already won. Shit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already won, I'm the champion.
Dude, that's awesome. It's like
Mike Tyson's a badass.
I love some of those like motivational quotes. Like, there's always those motivational quotes that are like, early bird gets the worm, and like break the wall eventually, blah blah blah. I like those ones that are like metaphors or like anecdotes, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love things that are told through a story, like with lore of like even in like fictional universes where like lore or like legendary events or like abilities are like explained through a story, like that. How it's like I wake up in cold sweats and then I stare the dude down, and then like it's not like, oh, I just trained harder than the other guy, now I'm not nervous. It's like it's a mental thing, and I like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's I'm such a sucker.
I'm a sucker for cheesy shit.
You and me could sit and just exchange cheesy motivational quotes all the time.
15 minutes.
Actually for my athletic training, I in my bedroom on a wall. And on a wall between my bathroom and the rest of my bedroom, I have index cards with corny motivational quotes on them. I have them taped everywhere. And right above my door before I leave every day, fuck good, we demand great.
See, it's great because the walls are your weight, so when he jacks off, it just kind of...
Yep.
But, I mean, there's also...
I'm sorry, I kind of have to interject humor every once in a while.
We can't, like, get too hard.
I will admit that when it gets really mushy, then I kind of, like, back out a little bit, but I appreciate where the sentiment is. So you guys are doing good work. We're doing God's work tonight, boys.
I sort of have, like, a light mantra, and you could put this on a cereal box, but it was a life mantra I had. So, like, it's sort of based off of Arnold Schwarzenegger's... one of his quotes that he said once, it's I'm terrified of being average. Like,
yep.
And that's sort of like what I had. Like, I sort of based it off of like I'd rather die being worse at something than being average at something, because being worse at something means I actually put an effort to be worse at it.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. My thing is, especially pertaining to that, I fear being average. Like, I'm gonna put something into perspective. The average U.S. man can bench press 135 pounds once. It is...
that is
a bar and a 45-pound plate on each side. And you sit there and think, especially as somebody who works out regularly, if that's average, I want to put so much distance between average and myself. You can't sit and compare yourself to average and think that's good. It's like, I'm better than most people. You need to keep setting goals and resetting them. Like, I've gone through, and I was initially comparing my progress to myself, but I'd put so much distance between where I started and where I am now that I started coasting because it was easy. And I was just like, but I've already made so much progress. So what I started doing is I pulled statistics and numbers from NFL players, and I put my statistics next to them. And then I look, and I'm like, that's what I have to beat now. And granted, I set a very high bar for myself. But you have something to drive towards. You always have to have something to drive towards. If you're an artist, maybe that's, I'm going to try and...
learn how to shade something different.
Yeah, but you have to set yourself a high bar. Maybe you go and you have one poster of like a Monet or something where you look at it and it's just like, I want to do something like that. Not exactly like it, but something similar. And as I get closer to it, it may not be exactly where I want to be, but I'm better than where I was.
Here's a good thing that I like. I'm gonna sound like a huge fucking nerd, but there are characters and stories that like, namely Naruto. There's a character in it named their entire training routine is based off of things that they cannot achieve. So they will try something else and try and break something that they also cannot achieve. So like, let's say just in terms of working out, like you set up like, okay, I'm gonna do 200 push-ups in a row, and I'm pretty sure most people cannot do that. Mm-hmm. So like
I can't.
I know. So let's say, all right, let's just say for us, like, all right, I'm gonna do 200 push-ups in a row, and obviously we can't do that, so we fail at like 85 at best. And then like, okay, if I can't do 200 push-ups, I'm gonna do 300 standing squats. And most people will not be able to do 300 standing squats. So okay, if I can't do 300 squats, I'm gonna do 80 minutes. I'm gonna do 80 or like 300 perfect jump rope jumps. And it's like, it's kind of cool, like, because I've been doing it recently. Like, if I set up these huge big goals that I can't reach, but then I constantly try and improve other things around it, and eventually I will be able to hit that goal, and then I'll just keep building bigger. Like, the thing is, if you want to get better at something, always aim for something higher than you can hit, because eventually you will be able to hit that mark, and then you'll just want to hit higher and higher. It's like, the best thing about self-improvement, like, once you actually can, like, figure out how you make your own progress, you'll just want to keep making progress.
Yep.
That's the best thing about it. Like, and the worst thing, and trust me, I'm pretty sure all three of us know exactly what it's like to just feel like no progress is being made. Or like,
regularly.
Dude, trust me, as an artist, I have like sleepless nights where I'm just looking at a blank piece of paper with like the pencil is just in my hand, like on the paper. I'm like, nothing. I can't think of anything. Like, I have entire notebooks full of story ideas. I can't draw one thing. Or like, if I'm drawing something that looks like shit, it's like, I could draw something like literally 10 minutes ago, but now I'm blank.
It's like a cliche. You're sitting there on a desk with an empty piece of paper with a mountain of balled up papers next to you.
Dude, I have filled up trash cans more times than I can count. But
I do that with essays a lot, where I sit there and erase and rewrite everything.
Okay, so after all that, just long story short, improve yourself. Don't be a pity party.
Get good, scrub.
If you have nothing to work for, die. That's seriously. No, as I've grown, as I've like matured a bit, if you have nothing to look forward to or to work towards, die. Like, then you will be disappointed forever. You will die disappointed if you have nothing important to work towards, be it anything, and constantly have something to work towards. All right. Somehow we got to that off of tropical storm names.
Well, wait, we did?
That was a huge devolution.
Oh, no, that's right, because then I started talking about a folk song.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That's right.
So
I talked about a folk song.
Because you said that you couldn't write folk songs.
I was like, oh, man, I'm not really good with folk songwriting.
Wow.
And then Dave just launched into something. And now we're sitting here and we're just deeper than the well down the street.
So let's pull back the reins from Andromeda for a second, and let's get back on the topic of tropical storm names.
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
But can I just say one thing? It would be so much better if like our tropical storm names were named after like real evil characters. So like Tropical Storm Brutus or like Tropical Storm Darth Vader.
Tropical Storm Vader.
I brought this up to some people before, and they're like, yeah, but you know how fucking insulting it would be to like say thousands have been killed in Tropical Storm Adolf Hitler. Like, no, like I'm insensitive.
That is not a character. That is a real human being.
I'm saying like
it is a piece of shit.
But, so 10,000. Not 10,000. Like,
why do we have to give it a name?
3,000 people were killed in Tropical Storm Darth Vader. It's like,
why do we have to give it a name? We know what a hurricane is.
I think that they should be identified by like one letter and a string of numbers. Like something that's Tropical Storm A53.
A1.
It's Tropical Storm A1.
A57.
Why can't we just say there's a hurricane?
Because there's sometimes multiple in the world at the same time.
Because, Joey, then you can get memes like Hurricane Ike. Prepare yourselves. That was my favorite. It's so insensitive to say that, but the pictures of Hurricane Ike where his face is in the middle and it just says "Prepare yourselves."
You know what? You want to know something? Clay here is very, very good at physical fitness. He's made a very good. He's made very good progress on it. Dave here is very good at drawing.
Yeah, I made good physical fitness
And he's
progress.
very good at physical fitness, too, because he's a large man. I am very, very good at memeing. That's
You
what I
and a
am.
lot of other people. Alright, what is it with memes, like, nowadays, and just being like...
Oh, we're doing meme talk.
Oh, boy.
No, let's not do meme talk.
No
too
meme
much.
talk.
Okay, fine, we'll do that some other time.
Memes is too deep. We're already like an hour deep because of motivational talk. We can't do memes. We can't do
That'll
memes
go
and
on for
motivation.
another... That'll be like a 3-hour episode.
We can't do memes and motivation in the same episode.
Alright, so, I think we can already cross out self-actualization.
Yeah, that was
sort
our,
of like our big one, so like...
Yeah.
On accident, too.
We went tropical storms to just somehow bleed into self-actualization.
Please reference the previous 40 minutes of our podcast.
Yes.
On accident, too.
Yeah, that was
By the
completely
way,
on accident.
I forgot that was a topic,
But
and
that
we
was
did
a
it.
great... It was a good discussion.
Let's end this with... Let's end this with accidents. Let's talk about
No, it's
accidents.
not accidents. This could lead into this one.
Well, I was
accidents,
gonna say this.
accidents and things that look broken and probably are, but we still we individually or we as like a society still use.
I have a perfect one for this.
Go for
so, building off of how much heavier I've gotten, my freshman year I was given a bungee cord chair by my parents for moving into my dorm.
Did it rip out of your ceiling?
No, it's like one of those wireframe ones where it's laced with interlocking bungee cords.
Oh.
The one, like the kind of chair you have.
There's so the weight limit on it was 200 pounds.
You were not 200 pounds.
I was 185 pounds, so I'm like, perfect. I sat in it for 2 years. And as I started getting fatter, the chair started sinking a little bit lower. And as I moved out of my sophomore year dorm, I took a gander at the joints on the sides of it. They were very cracked. So I slapped super glue on it, and I still sit in it to this day. Very broken. And I probably shouldn't be sitting in it because there's going to be a day where I'd end up with my ass on the ground. Because that thing just snaps out from underneath me. But until then, I will be abusing that poor bungee cord chair.
Until the day
it breaks.
Until the day I break my ass.
There was actually another one like this. I had because I had a slightly lofted bed in my sophomore year dorm.
Yes.
I would get into and out of the bed by stepping up on one of those like little ottomans that has the lid that comes off and you can store stuff in. And as I started jumping up and down off that also was not meant to be jumped on by a 225-pound man. And it slowly started, like, I could hear it creak, and it would shift side to side. And then one day I jumped out of bed onto it, and the whole thing twisted and gave way under my weight. And I ended on my ass. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what happened? It was like 6 in the morning, and I was completely out of it. I'm just laying there. And it held all my supplements, so I'm laying there in a puddle of supplement bottles. I'm like, what's going on?
It's like the beginning of School of Rock when he jumps off the stage.
Yep.
Straight on.
Because who's gonna catch Jack Black shirtless?
I'm not gonna lie, I would.
I would catch Jack Black. I'm not sure if I'd be able to catch him properly, but
I
would try.
Catch Jack.
Definitely try.
I don't know that I would catch Jack Black,
but
shirtless or not.
The thing is like
what a guy.
That sort of reminds me of just like I don't want to get off topic again, but like playground story. I'm like swinging on a swing set, and I'm like, all right. So I've been a big kid ever since I was in 4th grade. Like, and so around it was like, let's say like sophomore year of high school. So I was like 6 foot in like 6th grade. So I was a big person, but so I'm like 220 pounds, 210 pounds in high school, sophomore year. And I'm swinging on a swing set, and there's like I have like a slight rip in my pants, like I'm talking like the smallest like rip, so like maybe like the length of like the tip of my finger. And so I'm swinging on a swing, and I'm about to jump off, and like my cousins and I were just like hanging out in the local park, and I'm swinging there, and it got caught in that little rip right there. I let go of it, it snags, and I don't move very far. I go straight forward, and like my pants sort of come out, and I full on like as the swing is coming down, it's just like I smack the ground, and I get dragged back, and I just sort of am hanging there by like the swing. These girls are right next to me and my cousins, and they're like thinking that I was trying to impress them somehow. So like I'm literally hanging there. It's like a cartoon or like a movie scene where I'm hanging there by my pants, like underwear and everything, just like completely ragdolled on the ground.
Hey ladies, what's up?
And it's just,
how you doing?
And they're like laughing at me. It's like that. Seriously, point for point, it looked like a movie scene.
Joe, have you ever ripped your pants?
I think I have ripped my pants before.
I have a rip my pants story too, so you go and tell yours.
I've ripped my pants so many fucking times in my life.
Well, let me tell you, my rip my pants story was pants that didn't fit me very well. They were skinny jeans.
Oh,
And
there's your first mistake.
I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I just walked around campus with them in cold weather, and they just kind of like... They just tore.
One piece.
They constricted
a little bit. They just kind of tore a little bit, and then I got back, and I was like, "This was a mistake. This was a bad call."
Mine actually happened to my favorite pair of khakis that I owned. This was my first semester freshman year. I had put on 50 pounds. That was not a good 50 pounds either. Like, it was about 25 good and 25 bad. So I was squeezing into my favorite pair of khakis to drive home, and I was in the parking lot right outside of the Horseshoe in Columbus, and I bent down to pick up my suitcase, and I ripped from the belt loop down to my knee on the back side of my right leg. I was just standing there in the freezing cold with my ass hanging out. And I stand up, I pinch them together, I turn to my dad, I'm like, we need to leave now. And I got into the car, and I forgot that he had the heated seats on too. So that the back of my leg was like really, really hot the entire way home.
Yeah. When it happened to me, it wasn't like the back of my pants. It was down the seam. So like literally from my crotch, like all the way inside, like the entire way down.
Oh,
and so I was like, oh god,
that's like a kilt.
I'm wearing chaps.
It's a very shitty kilt.
I feel like I'm wearing chaps. And then I got back and I said, I looked at Devin, I was like, Devin, I don't think I want to wear skinny jeans any longer. And he said, why did you do it in the first place?
A good question.
Because it's me.
So my version of that is it was a track practice in 8th grade, and so being a fat
big fat fucking piece of shit.
Also known as throwers.
There you go. But so we're doing the stretches, and I'm wearing like slightly tighter pants than I normally would. And so me being like, oh, these pants will be fine. I'll just change after I'm done with practice. And so I'm wearing like thank God for boxer briefs, because boxer briefs are the best. These are just straight up like tighty white, not tighty whities, but like the ones where it's just like it's kind of like a cloth thong.
Oh,
Lordy. Yeah. So I'm wearing those, and I'm like, I'll be fine. And just like we're doing stretches, the whole thing. You can see the whole package. Not the whole package. It wasn't like the whole thing was hanging out, but like it was like cupped up in there because like it's like curled up and like
flopping around in the way.
Pubes and just like the cold spring air. It's just like
those are those weird hairs that aren't quite leg hairs but aren't quite pubes.
So they're like staring in one another, knocking themselves out.
The happy trail, or
no, that's like in through your upper thighs.
Oh, leg hair.
The treasure trail is up to your stomach, up to your belly button.
Oh, you're talking about just that.
Yeah, the weird thigh hair that's like it's between leg hair and pubes.
Then they like knot together and they tear on each other.
I've always heard.
Well, I mean that might happen to you because you're so Greek and so hairy. That doesn't happen to me.
I mean, I've always heard them called thigh heaters.
I've never heard a word for them before this actually.
Thigh heaters.
I also thought
learn something new every day.
I also thought that was really fun.
You want to know who's got really, really hefty leg hair? Is our good friend Brian Higgins. It is so hefty that when he wears like Under Armour pants or like long underwear, it pokes out through the pores in the pants.
Doesn't Mark also have like really...
No, he's got chest hair.
Oh, he's got the chest hair. Wolfman chest.
I don't know. I don't agree with Mark's concept of never trimming down your body hair. If I don't I take head trimmers and I'll just no guard my armpits, and I will take like a number 3 across my entire body. It's so much better because then they aren't long enough to tangle up on each other, but then they're not so short that you feel prickly. It's perfect.
The thing
Mark values that though. Mark kind of values that. It's funny, that wild feeling.
It's funny because at the convention we went to last year, ColossalCon, which by the way, if you guys go to ColossalCon, anyone who listens, we go there. And same with OhioCon.
Not me.
Not Clay.
Clay won't do that.
I refuse.
AJ comes every now and then.
If you want
He's
to,
going to do
if you see me around, I mean, you kind of know what I look like.
You can say hi to me.
You can say hi. You can wink at me. You can probably punch me in the ribs. I'll be all right.
By the way, the picture,
Wink at him first.
Wink at me and then punch me in the ribs. I'll dig it.
Yes, in that order.
By the way, the pictures
I'll
that we
dig
use
it.
for these are just the most unflattering pictures we have of us.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is my favorite picture.
Okay, maybe for you, but
No, actually, my favorite picture of me, Clay took it. Actually, we were in a Chipotle, and I was looking down at my phone, but my phone's not in frame so you can't see that I'm a millennial. And it's just me looking down, and you can't really even see my eyes, but it's just my hair, and I'm like smiling. That's like my favorite picture of me. I don't know why. It's just so humble.
my favorite picture of you is your driver's license.
Oh yeah,
Your fiendish picture.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, hang on, we gotta break out. So I'm still 20, so I have not gotten a renewed license. This is a non-visual medium, but I'm gonna show Joe and Dave 16-year-old Clay on his driver's
I know
license.
it's 16. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's been a long time since I've seen 16-year-old Clay.
I actually
You look like a fucking child.
I fear that when I go and I get carded to get into 18 plus bars, I fear that my license will get taken away because I don't look anything like it anymore.
Oh.
But also,
You better turn 21 quick.
Yeah, well, I got a couple months left on it.
Dude, the thing is
My license picture is fine.
so dude, my first license picture before I got my wallet taken.
I know, yeah. It was pretty good.
It was like, I'm not kidding you, everyone. Like, I think I'm one of the least photogenic people. Like, I think I'm the least photogenic of the group. Like, of the entire group of people, I think I'm the least photogenic.
I don't know.
I'm pretty bad, Joe.
Mark's pretty unphotogenic, mostly because
No, he's perfect. His reactions are always on point, no
we
matter
have
what.
one picture of Mark that's perfect.
No, he's
I
perfect.
mean, it's
all
the
time.
perfect picture of Mark. But I mean, like,
No, he's always perfect. I've
There's
never
like-
seen him in a bad picture. Like, there's something at
it's
least
because
charming.
we've seen 3 pictures of
Okay,
him.
but he's still 3 for 3. But
That's fine.
of all my pictures, I look like I'm either like staring down something behind the person or like off screen because I'm terrible at taking pictures. So I just embrace the fact that I can't take pictures well.
I'm a pretty big fan. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm a pretty big fan of the pictures we have for Cody and
Cody's is my favorite of the
Cody's is like awkwardly close on his
That's
face.
the funny part. But my old license, like the best way I can describe it is I look like a homeless man who just happened to like get a license. Like my eyes were like bulging out like from under my thing, and I had like my chin retracted, so I had like kind of a double chin going on.
But you have so much beard, you couldn't really see it.
No, it was like stubble growing in. It was just like it was like. I was just sort of
your license picture like just screamed like, hey, they took my picture, put it on a card, gave it to me for free, and now I could go into bars.
Now I can go get a sandwich. But then like my hair like it was pulled back in a ponytail. Which by the way, if any of you have long hair out there and you're going to get your license redone, never have your hair in a ponytail because your hair strands. You don't know if your hair strands are like flopping out. Like my first license picture, my hair strands were going everywhere. So like it looked like my head was like it looked like there was static electricity coming off me. I looked homeless.
There is the best way that I've learned to combat that because I recently acquired much longer hair.
It's beautiful.
Moroccan oil.
Aha.
Moroccan oil. You buy it. It's a mixture of like argan oil and coconut oil.
Where can I get that?
You get it at the. Unfortunately, it's the women's section at Target usually.
I trade my man card.
I have-
Oh no,
I have no shame. I use it all the
well,
time.
I love it because it takes those little flyaways and it keeps them down. And it keeps your hair really soft.
Moroccan oil. It is soft.
But
the people
unfortunately, though, it happens to be fairly close to the cosmetic section, and you get some hilarious looks when it is 4'5'2", like stereotypical sorority blonde girls, and then a hulking 6'4" man.
I'm pretty sure I get some weird looks too, just walking in, being as wide as the aisleway, and just like, oh, this looks like it would compliment my looks.
A large Greek man.
A large Greek man just sort of hulking through and like smashing things with his face.
Fun fact for the people at home: when I first met Dave, I thought he was black.
That's a story.
That is true.
Do you want to divulge into that story, Joe?
No, not now.
Not
I
now.
think that's all you really need to know.
That's a lot. That's a lot of
If we
information.
do like
to
a
take
season
in.
finale where all of us are together, can we just do like each of us our stories of how we remember meeting each other? Like that can just be like an around the
I
horn
remember
thing.
the first.
No,
the first,
no, do not go into it. We're keeping all that secret for later.
Okay, I'll talk about it off mic
Yes.
because this is a funny first memory I have of hanging out with Clay.
All right, so
I think I've actually talked to you.
So
about
is that all we can talk about? I think. What you didn't even answer the fucking question again. It's like what things are broken and probably are.
Who cares?
Well, no, we talked a lot of broken things, but mostly broken pants.
Mostly broken pants. Yeah, that's just like, but that's like things that were actually broken. These are things that look broken, but it probably are, but still use. So like,
I had my chair and my ottoman,
and
that I was sitting there. I was sitting there counting, waiting until they broke.
It's another piece of furniture, but those 2 futons I have, they're both broken, but I still use them.
Yes.
Both broken.
Well, see,
That one, the rail over there just like ripped off, and that one's like dipped in. So
I mean, your entire family is large Greek people, so
not Nicolette and my mom,
true.
but like the rest of us are large, but not them.
There's enough largeness to break things.
Can you imagine if all of us are like actually like each of us are 6 foot? That'd be fucking.
I mean, you're only a couple people off.
I know. There's only 2 people.
That's what you know what's crazy to me is Dave is shorter than Brian.
Yeah, but Brian is a noodleman.
Brian is a noodleman.
I mean, didn't you say like I take up the most presents?
Dave takes up a lot of presents.
Dave has the most volume of the group.
Okay, can we quickly divulge into the I can run faster story?
Oh,
let's
yeah.
end the. All right, let's end the.
I want to end the
podcast
episode with a hypothetical or like a would you rather.
Okay. Well,
so quickly before that, so we're up on the OSU campus.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, meeting our good friends Clay and Brian upstairs.
And I think Sarah was actually there too.
Yes, she was.
And so we're all spending a weekend down there. It was Thanksgiving weekend. We came down mostly for a Smash tournament, but we also wanted to hang out with Brian and Clay. So we're down there and we're doing our normal shtick, just walking around late at night, climbing buildings, running around rooftops.
Well, climbing the building is integral to the story.
Yeah, that's actually the thing. Like we're climbing the building, like sneaking around it, and just like figuring, like we actually managed to go around the whole building on the roof and then come off the other side. We did it twice.
That was fun.
And Joey and I did it twice, and while everyone was like walking away back to their dorm room.
Yeah, they were just like, we don't want to be seen.
So Joe and I jumped down from the roof, and we're like, all right, let's go catch up to them because they're a bit down like the way. So I'd say that you guys are like 100 or so feet away. Like they're
couple hundred.
Farther. They're about, let's say they're like 200 feet away. So in between them, their group of like 4 people and us, is this one girl walking with like a bag and like
this one poor girl walking
like,
back from the library.
She's like 5'3", maybe. She's really small, blonde hair, like
she was willowy. She was very thin.
she was like a little flower.
She was
blowing in the breeze.
frail.
She was a little flower blowing in the breeze.
Maybe 100 pounds if she was wet with a brick in her pocket.
And so Joey and I are like, all right, they're a little bit ahead. Let's just go jog up to them. So Joey and I are casually jogging. Mind you, casually. That's the word I'm using because it's really what it was. You and I were casually jogging up to them. She hears us coming, and she turns around and she's like freaks out. She like wide eyes. She doesn't scream or anything. She just wide eyes, like starts like booking it to them, and like catches up to them and like runs in front of them and like looks around, and we just like come up to the group and like, hey guys, what's up? And she like turns to us and she's like, I thought you guys were gonna like kidnap me or something. I'm like, what? It's like,
you guys were in all black, running up on this poor girl at nighttime.
All right, hold on. Am I really that intimidating when I just
Yes.
You are
what?
Yes. Yes.
You are large. Okay.
The answer to that is yes. In that girl's situation, Joe would be intimidating running up on her. It's a girl by herself, out on a college campus.
You make a good point.
But there's
you
like
make
4 people ahead of her.
That's why she ran up to us.
I know that's the reason
she ran up to them and she was like, all right, hey, you guys just gotta hide me right now.
And she understood once we were like, yeah, we were fucking chasing you.
No, we were just trying to catch
Yeah,
up
we're
to
just
my
trying to catch them.
buds.
And then I whispered under my breath, I was like, because I can run much faster.
If you had said that to her,
If I wanted to catch you, I would have been able to.
if you had said that to her, she probably would have like tried to kill you.
No, she wouldn't.
She might have like passed out.
That would have been fine, but like,
She got away from us very quickly after that. Still,
this is a fun little story that like apparently
really
my
bad
existence
for that girl.
apparently my existence as being a 6-foot wide man is apparently enough to cause panic in a girl in
Yes.
the middle of the night.
Welcome to the world.
I mean,
So
apparently,
bad.
Joey apparently, like you said, in that situation would have been slightly.
Joey would have been terrified. Joey would have been not slightly terrifying. He still would have been scary.
because I'm a...
Any guy running up on a girl at nighttime. And it sucks that that's how our society is, but it's the way it is.
But like it was a casual jog. It wasn't like well, fucking get you. Like
I'm gonna get
I wasn't like had like my head down or something like, or like not even my hood. My jacket was unzipped. It was this very jacket I'm wearing. It was unzipped. Like at least it would have been like zipped up or something, or like the hood was up. Maybe just because my hair's long or something, she could have imagined that maybe my hood was up. But like would I be like wearing a mask or something, or like seriously? Like I mean, then again, it is kind of naive for me to think that like all bad guys just wear ski masks.
Yep.
Alright, so long story short, Joey and I were jogging, and some girl thought we were gonna kidnap her, and I wasn't because I could run much faster. But alright, so
final thoughts.
Alright, final thoughts on that. Alright, so this episode we talked about a lot of crazy shit. We got really motivational, and then we ended off with a possible rape story.
And I think this is actually our longest episode yet. So
well, good, because there's gonna be some.
Glad to be a part
well,
of
there's
it.
gonna be some editing.
So really quick, we're gonna do a last minute would you rather / hypothetical. Would you rather do a would you rather or hypothetical?
Let's do a hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical.
Alright, so I'm just gonna sort of spout this off the top of my head. Joey.
Okay.
Alright, so
Yes.
so you were both working in Home Depot.
Yes.
All right.
And you're both working in the plumbing section.
Okay, plumbing.
And the boss comes in. Alright, boss comes up, she's like, hey guys, so I heard that there was a
Yes, boss.
rogue shitter.
Yeah, boss.
He just shat. Someone reported that someone just shat in the toilet
Yeah,
over.
one of the empty toilets.
Yeah,
There's no water in it.
Yeah, they
Still
still
shat.
pooped in. They tried to flush it.
Little Donald Glover.
Like, and we're trying, and we have good suspicion. We have good suspicion that it was one of you two. Which one of you wasn't it?
Oh, it'd be Joe, no question.
It was me.
And Joe would own up to it too. Actually,
No. I wouldn't because I hate public shitting.
I am public shits.
I feel very vulnerable when I poop, and I hate it. And I would not do it in a public setting. So it was not me. It was Clay.
it's an elaborate ruse.
It's an elaborate ruse.
I can piss anywhere. I am not a shy pisser. I am a shy
Piss on this
pisser.
table while I'm staring you in the face.
I could do that.
I'm probably sure I could. Like I can't. I'm very shy to poop if I can piss anywhere.
I'm very
So it
shy
was
about
Clay.
my bodily functions. Actually,
So it was neither of us. Ooh, maybe it was Don Glover.
Don Glover.
What's Don Glover?
Donald Glover is the comedian.
I know he's the comedian, but like, why? He's not working in the store.
No, he told the story about
That's the question. Which one of you pooped?
During this time we would rock paper scissors to see who would take the fall for it.
Sorry, it's rock paper scissors.
And then I would strong arm Joe into agreeing to it.
Just strong arm into the toilet. Sure poop.
I'm gonna cliffhanger this because the last time somebody rock paper scissors with me, I ended up taking an Irish car bomb. So
Ooh, yeah, that
That's
did not end well.
That's a story for another time. That's for a good old fashioned drinking episode.
that's a good old fashioned drunk episode.
That's
if
where
I
we
ever
go.
heard one.
Yep. Alright, we can do a would you rather. It's one of my favorite ones. Alright, so I asked this to Joey last time and Clay. I mean, not Clay, and Cody.
Oh yeah, Clay's got to get this one.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, fuck two people.
Okay.
Their combined age has to be 100.
Okay.
And their combined hotness has to be 14. Let's make it harder. Your ages have to be.
Oh no! Don't do this.
No. Yeah, all right. Yeah, 100 and 14. We'll do it different.
Jeez. Honestly, I'd probably split it. 45, 55.
45, 55 for the age.
Yeah, for the ages. Okay. And then let's see, a 14. I'll do a 9 and a 5.
Ooh. Okay.
That's because I'd rather have 2 mediocre experiries than one that was.
9 is a mediocre experience.
Well, a 45-year-old.
Is that like you're like right about to do it and then you sort of smack your head on the wall? So like kind of.
Yeah, the circumstances. I'm saying that's closer to mediocre than a 95-year-old and like that's.
Yeah.
Well, in that instance, it would be like an 18-year-old and an 82-year-old.
Devin's response to that question is one of my favorites. It's he said like
91-year-old.
He said like I'm gonna just take the risk. I want an 11 30-year-old and a 3 70-year-old.
Yeah, Devin took the gambler route. I gamed it. I was like, just give me 2 cougars.
Yeah, he's like, give me 50.
Yeah, that's the route I went.
57 and 50 and 7.
Yeah, just split it even. I'll take the cougar.
My answer for that,
because you don't know, some cougars can be free.
My answer for that was like it was a 20-40 and a 10-80.
Actually, that's not a bad one because you could still be. I don't know.
I am not about to make it in any way, shape, or form anything lower than 18 years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's that old loophole. There's that old loophole that you have to fuck 2 people and their combined age has to be 21. And someone said a pregnant 21-year-old. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
You got me.
I mean, technically, that's the correct answer.
That is a correct answer.
We went through a lot of stages in this podcast. We started funny, we got to motivational and deep, and now we're just getting raunchy. So I think we should quit while we're ahead.
All right. So this is
give it the outro.
This is a fun time.
So we edited out all of the episode. Quit while we're ahead.
All right. So yeah, this is a fun time. Clay, I'm glad you could join us for an episode.
Yeah, I am very glad I could be here,
I
gentlemen.
think this is a great debut.
Yes, I look forward to more.
And so with all that, I'm Dave.
I'm Clay.
I'm Joe.
And we'll see you all next time. Bye bye.
Peace.
That's the outro music.